Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage our hosts, Mary Jo Collin, and CEO of My Regional MLS, and Mike McGraw, President of My Florida Regional MLS.
Hi. Good morning. CMLS 2018 and welcome. I'm Mary Jo Collin, CEO of My Florida Regional MLS.
And my name is Mike McGraw. I am the president of My Florida Regional MLS, and welcome to my hometown, Orlando, Florida. If you notice up here, we're called the City Beautiful. There's a lot of reasons why they call us the City Beautiful. Florida is also called the Sunshine State. We have some of the best beaches in the world, but we are also the lightning capital of the world. So if it does rain this afternoon, please be careful as you step outside.
As we begin our journey today and tomorrow, and you've probably seen Above and Beyond on the name tags. As we begin this journey at the conference, be thinking about Above and Beyond as you sit through the sessions and as you listen and learn. And there are two meanings behind that. The first one is in recognition of every one of you in this room and all of those who are not here, who perform hundreds of tasks, minor miracles every day to make the complex real estate transaction seem effortless and simple. It's also a calling to ask you, to ask yourself and your organization, how is the MLS industry making the market work today? And how are we going to continue to make it work tomorrow and beyond? So that's a call to action. So be thinking as you listen to our speakers and our panelists and our guest spots, where are we going to take this industry? Mike.
I would also like to count our conference business partners among those that you should be listening to this week. You will find many of them out in our reinvented exhibit space, which we call a community center. It's located in the mezzanine area outside the room here.
So now I'm going to do this host privilege thing that, well, I just made that up. So I want to say right at the very beginning that this event, if you look around you, this just doesn't happen by accident. We booked this hotel 3 years ago. It wasn't even built yet. That's how long we've been working on bringing all of you here. But even then, it just doesn't happen. The CMLS staff, amazing. My staff, amazing. But even then, to put an agenda together for this conference that's going to engage all of you is a phenomenal task. So I'd like to just take a second to thank those who are here in the room. And if you're here, please stand up and be recognized. The conference committee work group plans the agenda, finds the speakers. We have Brad Belkey, Chris Carrillo, David Sharon, Matthew Consalvo, Tim Dane, Lauren Hansen, Stephanie Hill, Shelley Specchio, Jennifer Thompson Kirsty, Michael Werzer, Kim Pryor, and if I missed anybody, please accept my apology. If you have a great time this week, you can know that they worked hours behind the scenes to bring you this agenda. Okay, back on script we go. I like this prerogative thing. I could really enjoy that. Some of our business partners, as Mike was talking about earlier, also have gone above and beyond, making an individual contribution and donation to this year's host charity. This is something new that we've started doing in the last couple of years. This year, MFR chose Give Kids the World Village, and it's co-sponsored by Florida Realtors. So Margie's going to join us real quick on stage here. Mike.
So I'd like to point out that the co-sponsors, Florida Realtors and My Florida Regional MLS, have guaranteed a benchmark donation of at least $10,000 to this charity. I would specifically like to thank CEO Margie Grant from Florida Realtors and all the members of Florida Realtors for this donation. Thank you. Also, 100% of all additional donations that are collected here at the conference and from our online teams will go directly to the charity Help Give Kids the World. This will provide an adventure for critically ill children here in the next coming year. Also, if you want a chance to learn more about this program, go to our website, CMLS2018.com. Also, you can go out into the lobby to the MFR MLS care station, and you can meet some of the people from this fantastic charity.
And make a donation
And
while
make
you're
a
there.
donation, thank you.
Please. Not only can you learn more about Give Kids the World on our CMLS 2018 website, you can also find you can also find the agenda, our sponsor page, and all kinds of information about the conference, CMLS2018.com. If you do go and check out the charity, be sure to go to the donations page so you can track this team challenge that we have going on between MFR, IRIS, and Florida Realtors. So please take a chance, go to that site and look around. You can also find information on social media there. So if you go take a look, find the hashtags. We're asking everybody to use hashtag CMLS 2018. If you want to be a part of the social media this week, please be sure to hashtag everything you do with hashtag CMLS 2018, especially in your tweets, because we are going to have a contest for a tweeting contest. It also will, of course, work for Facebook and Instagram. Now, there are 2 CMLS board members who have graciously agreed to judge your tweets. And there will be prizes. But no, I'm not going to tell you who they are, because I know you. You will buy them drinks, you will schmooze with them, you will charm them, and try to influence their decisions. So you will not know who they are until the winners are announced. We probably won't even tell you, because if you don't win, you might not be happy. So we'll just have fun with this. Just know there are 2 CMLS directors wandering around while looking at your tweets. So please have fun with that. The winning tweet must include hashtag CMLS 2018. So this is kind of like a disclaimer, like you hear at the end of a radio commercial. Neither they, meaning the directors, nor CMLS is endorsing the viewpoint of the winning tweet. The winning tweet must include hashtag CMLS 2018 to be considered. Judges' tweets naturally will not be considered. Sounds like a commercial, doesn't it? Anyhow, have fun with that. Please enjoy.
And while we encourage you to tweet during this event and use the CMLS 2018 Wi-Fi, which is CMLS 2018, there it is right there, password, above and beyond, which is one word, we ask that you be courteous and mute your cell phones during the conference. If you need to take a phone call, please exit, go outside, have a quiet conversation. If you need to use the restrooms, either door will take you out to the North Hall or the South Hall, so you can use the restrooms.
All right, those are housekeeping stuff. So some other things that you're going to want to be aware of. We are going to have some prizes, because you know you can't come to CMLS without some prizes. So aside from the tweet prizes, we are also going to have door prizes. And that is where you want to make sure you have your butt in your seat when it's time for the drawing. We will have 5 different drawings, fabulous prizes throughout the next 2 days, and we'll draw them, but you want to be in your seat. If you're not sitting in your seat and your name is called, you don't win. So have your butt in your seat. Be sure also on Friday for the grand prize, which is towards the end of the day on Friday, you are definitely going to want to have your butt in your seat for that. So when you hear the chimes or when people start coming back in, and we will let you know every time when to be back, please be back with your buns in your seat so that you will be eligible to win. And I would just say, first of all, I hope, may the best man or woman win. We hope you'll have a great time. And just in case it looks suspicious and all the winners are from Florida, I just want you to know I had nothing to do with that. I did not pick any winners. So it's all random. Just so you know, no favoritism in the door prize drawings. Except for my staff, you're not eligible. So there you go. There's the lack of not favoritism. Mike.
In all seriousness, MFR MLS is very proud to host this event. In fact, our effort to host this event included bringing every one of our board members. So if you're an MFR MLS board member or an AE of an MFR MLS association, please stand for a second so we can say thank you. Thank you very much. We're here to learn with everyone else here at this conference. We're excited to host this, and welcome to Orlando.
Yes. Oh, wait, one more thing. You know how I am.
I know.
You do know, don't you? I almost forgot. So, you've seen the pins on the lanyards? I don't have mine on right now, so I can't point to it, but you'll see it up on the screen. How many of you started collecting pins? This is something new we're starting this year. We're really excited about it. You will have received some pins at registration. And then please go visit our business partners at their booth. Some of them have pins. And we're going to have a contest at the end to see. It's kind of like, how many of you have ever been to a theme park where you trade pins? We're doing the CMLS Trading Pin Frenzy. So please have fun. Please enjoy. And we're excited to have that. And you have to stop by their booth and say hi. And not everybody has a pin, so you have to go exploring a little bit. So that is I think I'm done.
We're done.
Okay, we're done. And now it's my pleasure to welcome someone that I have watched grow, someone that I was privileged enough to be on the committee that found our superstar, and to see how she has helped us move forward in the industry. So it's my distinct pleasure and honor, everyone here, to welcome our CMLS Chief Executive Officer, Janae Evans.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike. Good morning to my MLS family. I am so grateful that you have chosen to come spend a few days with us here in Orlando. Thank you. Earlier this year, I shared a story with you about a professor who asked his students to write about a single black dot in the center of a paper. Although confused, the students did as they were asked, describing its size, shape, shade, and location. Take a second to think about what your answer would be. The students did as they were told, and as the professor collected the papers and reviewing them, shook his head and said, "You all did the same thing. You wrote about the paper." Most people do this when looking at the black dot. Most of us do this in our daily lives. If only we took our eyes off the black dot and focused on the space around it, the opportunities. If we did, might discover that this space, and not the black dot, that gets us from where we are to where we could be, from point A to point B. From here to the moon? Too far? Can you see that's a moon, the Earth? When President Kennedy made the bold statement that the U.S. would land a man on the moon before the end of the decade, our nation began to be laser focused on the space between here and there. Small steps that would put astronaut Alan Shepard into space, John Glenn into orbit, and Neil Armstrong on the moon. It's pretty amazing to think that the Apollo 11 team launched just a little ways from here, about an hour from where we're all sitting today. It's not too far. Let's challenge ourselves to believe that the space between where the MLS industry is today and where we need to take it is not far. Now, don't worry, I'm not asking anyone to fly to the moon, not yet. Maybe we could get Elon Musk to come for CMLS 2019. That's next year's goal. From 3 years, almost 4 years ago, when I joined CMLS as CEO, we have covered a tremendous amount of space. We have changed the way we communicate the value of the MLS community. We've developed meaningful partnerships within the real estate industry, and we've really developed a solid infrastructure to better support you, our members. we filled all the space that made this year's themes of heroism, community, and foresight possible. Now, I want to add a little something about heroism. When we talk about heroes this week, we're not talking about masks and capes and spandex. We're talking about people who have provided indispensable contributions to making the market work today and tomorrow. Really, I'm talking about all of you. You're the ones who defined the value of the MLS. You're the ones who came up with the new ideas, the processes, and the innovations. You're the ones partnering with new stakeholders to make the market work. You're the heroes of real estate, and you're all here in this room today. I'd like you to take a moment and look around at each other. It's okay to make eye contact, but don't gaze. That gets a little creepy. The people that you're looking at, those are the people filling the space between where we are right now and where we need to be. And if you don't think I'm talking about you, then I'd really encourage you to start talking to the people around you. Don't do that right now. Okay, if you could wait till lunch or break or at the bar, that would be great. But I guarantee the people you talk to lend value to the MLS industry every day. Please, over the next 2 days, I'm really asking you to meet new people, ask new questions, learn new things, and be willing, be proud to share what it is that you do every day to make the market work. When we first launched the campaign, The Value of MLS, I knew it was way more than just a marketing campaign. I wanted MLSs to share their stories and really define their place. I wanted the MLS language, words like connections, confidence, and community, to become a regular part of the real estate's language. And today, they are. How many of you in this room have taken advantage and used the Making the Market Work tools? Collectively, these MLSs are telling the MLS story. You're telling the story. And if you haven't used them yet, I would really encourage you to makingthemarketwork.org. Use them, promote them, tell the story. And that story is made up of individual heroes who make it happen. And it's not just a story. Earlier this year, CMLS was invited to participate in the ITF and Department of Justice FTC workshop on competition in real estate and MLS's role within that. Definitely made some people uncomfortable. When I brought the request to the CMLS leadership, the following phrase may or may not have been used. We're not touching that with a 10-foot pole. But we pushed through that. We had some really tough discussions, some really challenging discussions, but I have to tell you, CMLS really took a stand on that and a lead role, and I am so proud of the result. I think selecting CMLS inductee Brian Larson to do that was the right choice and made us all smile. The resulting white paper on competition in real estate outlined the pro-competitive benefits of MLSs and the ways in which we serve as an essential marketplace for brokers, agents, and consumers. And this is not the only place collaboration effectively advocates for a better market. CMLS is a member of this past year we became a member of the Net Neutrality Coalition. We continue to support the Realtor Party Corporate Ally Program. We're reaching out to brokers through a survey so we can better understand their needs. Leading RE sent it out in their newsletter a few weeks ago, and we're working with Realty Alliance to get something out with their members soon. We also sent a letter to Keller Williams after the not-so-lovely comments from their CEO earlier this year, and I'm really excited to share that we've now developed a new and productive and a very positive dialogue with Keller Williams since then. I also have met with Bob Goldberg and Katie Johnson. I think Katie's here somewhere from NAR, and as part of our cooperative agreement with both organizations, we're actively working to bring both the MLS community and the broker community together, fostering better relationships. And this spring, I had the privilege to attend a dinner that was held with the MLS executives and the brokers from the NAR RES group. It was so cool to watch this group of MLS's executives and brokers meet and interact and watch my MLS execs share with absolute passion and pride what it is they do every day to deliver excellence. Great relationships were fostered that evening, and there's more to come. They were all looking at the paper. 4 years ago, very few people believed this could happen, but this is helping us fill the space between today and tomorrow. We are moving forward with foresight. When an MLS member who has 11 years of experience emails to say that they are both surprised and pleased at how much they learned after taking a CMLX2 course, you know things are changing. It's even more remarkable when a CMLX3 writes to say, "Thank you. I can honestly state that the CMLX3 class added enormous weight to my promotion." Successes like these are more and more common, and it doesn't stop there. CMLS has updated all of our best practice guides. They're things that you can use every day to improve your daily operations. And if you looked at them before, I would highly encourage you to look at them again. And in the next few weeks, you'll receive an invitation to access our new online self-assessment for MLSs. No longer on a piece of paper, but it's online, interactive, that you can really use with feedback to help you take your operations to the next level. As you can see, not all of the steps we've done, not everything has been small steps. Some are giant leaps. Some of them feel especially giant to me. How many of you remember registering for this conference or renewing your membership by filling it out on paper or a PDF and sending it in? Yeah, I do. It's sort of funny to even say that now, but it wasn't very funny at the time dealing with all that. And CMLS really needed to get the right processes and tools in place so we can better support you, our members. As a colleague said recently, we've been working under the hood, but I think we've got that done. That's solid now, and we can focus on just supporting our members. If you haven't seen it, we have a beautifully new website that is engaging and has a front end that really helps to share the MLS story to the rest of the world, but it is allowing a place on the back end where each of you can get together, share your experiences and your knowledge. And all of this has led up to this moment. CMLS has set another conference record this year with 832 in attendance. Mr. Tedesco told me last night that when he hosted in 2011, it was 555 people. So just think about that space since 2011. It's very exciting. 832 people is a number that tells me the topics we touch on over the next few days can really have a profound impact on the real estate industry. So no matter what challenges appear, no matter what changes occur, the space ahead will be one of remarkable flexibility, deliberate action, and an ability to create the future, because we are working to create it together. Again, thank you for being here and being part of the community as we look ahead, above, and beyond. Please make this conference your first small step and collaborate with amazing people in this room. It's so important that we do. Together, we can take small steps that lead to giant leaps and land us exactly where we set out to be. Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce you to someone I have had the honor and privilege to work with, but also learn from and be inspired by. I know you will be too if you haven't already. He has been listed as one of Inman's most influential people in real estate for 11 consecutive years, in the Swanepoel 200 every year since its inception, and he recently earned its 2018 Visionary Award. He was recognized as the inaugural Peter Shutterworth MLS Executive Award of Excellence from CMLS. Somebody should talk to them about that name, it's long. And the National Home Ownership Award from Riz Media. Many other things that can be added to that list. But ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Chief Strategy Officer and Director for Bright MLS, your 2018 Chair, Mr. David Sharon.
Hey, good morning. Thank you, Danae, very much. That's very nice. When I started in this industry back in 1968, it was a pretty tumultuous year, and it was filled with lots of triumphs and tragedies. We lost some real heroes that year: Martin Luther King, Bobby Kennedy, Dwayne Hodges from the USS Pueblo, among them. But we also reached new heights. The first Boeing 747 took off, and some of you may remember that Apollo 8 made it around the moon. There I was, eager to start my career, my journey in real estate, but not exactly sure where this journey would take me. I couldn't Google the answer. Online generally referred to a power grid or a manufacturing process. In printer and publishing parlance, where I started, it meant the type was set, the plates were burned, and production had started. That fit with the real estate at the time. It really did. It was all very, very tactile. We put everything on sheets and books, and in a world of newspapers, it really meant news on paper. Incidentally, the cost of a new home was $26,000, and a gallon of gas was about 34 cents. Mobile meant you had a car. Local phone numbers had 6 or 7 digits. Xerox came up with a fax machine. The point is, I really didn't know where the industry was going. Collectively, we probably didn't either, but we were moving along. 3 decades earlier, the creation of the Federal Housing Commission revolutionized home financing and home ownership. That was comforting, for sure. But not everything was perfect. The FHA, for instance, had endorsed the Homeowners Loan Coalition underwriting handbook for years. And this was the handbook that came complete with neighborhood classifications that largely divided occupation, income, and ethnicity in an purported attempt, to eliminate the subjectivity of appraisers. Some of you remember that green was good, homogeneous for American businesses and professional men. Blue was still desirable, expected to remain stable. Yellow was in decline, or bordering black communities. And red, well, that's where the term redline came in. Red meant there was black and low-income areas that were not ideal for lending. All of that, everything that we all knew about home financing for decades, had to be shaken to its core. And thankfully, in 1968, the same year I started, we passed a timely federal new law to ensure that something that most of us take for granted now, equal housing, regardless of race, color, creed, religion, sex, national origin, all of that was eliminated. NAR, I might add, was in support of the Fair Housing Act in 1968, and was an amendment, they made an amendment in 1988, or supported an amendment in 1988, that extended the same protection to children and persons with disabilities. So things needed to change, and that's an example of things that we changed for the better. In the years that followed, the next big lesson that we needed to learn was to let go of much of what had gotten us to that point. And I don't mean just housing classifications, I mean everything. We had to move away from basic information and publishing in a tactile form. And we had to adapt to a jumble of innovations: the introduction of online systems, the integration of images in public records, the formation of a regional MLS, and eventually to portals that responded to consumer preferences that literally decimated newspaper revenue streams, like the classified section, up to today, where we've got tools introduced by cool new companies like WNR and HomeSnap and RealScout and Remind, and the list goes on. We did all this hard work, and we finally landed in a place that we wanted to be, only to find out that we weren't done. So we slogged ahead, maybe not quite as quickly as we'd like, but we did slog ahead. We all adapted as we needed to adapt. Some of us led, some of us followed, and it was all okay, because the one thing that remained common amongst all of us was that the MLS had been the de facto local market exchange for more than 100 years. Maybe several hundred years, depending on who you ask, but anyway, it was comforting for sure. We were also increasingly required to manage more and more complex issues: political, technological, financial, personnel. We were increasingly required to manage greater expectations from shareholders, from directors, from customers, and from our staff, and from our technology partners. All of us watched, and over time, our margin for error shrank. Time spans for measurable achievement of objectives were shortened. Some of us even tried to play it safe rather than risk our positions or our place at the table. But still, it was comforting. And then these other people showed up, the pundits and the critics, people like Rob Hahn and Brad Inman and Stefan Swanepoel and the Wave Group, and yes, Greg Robertson. Each of them very different, but all very critical, sometimes constructively, sometimes not, of our collective progress or lack thereof. And then brokers, angry at themselves, and those who may have contributed to their profitability challenges, created their own network moment and essentially said at this very conference 5 years ago, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. Is it any wonder that we walked away from that conference and reapplied our energies, and we trusted our instincts, and we recommitted to delivering continuous improvement? We were suddenly re-inspired, if you will, by the idea of innovation. At the same time, in true schizophrenic form, we were also threatened by it. Or as Danae said, we finally started working on the space between where we were and where we wanted to be. For me personally, it took longer than I'd like to admit to make market consolidation work. I'm guilty. I wasn't immediately willing to let go of most of what had gotten me to this point. I had no experience in blowing up a very successful company. From what I've seen, though, people will soon forget if your deliverable is late and right. What they won't forget is if you are on time and wrong. They get pissed, and maybe forever. It's clear to me that the MLS industry needs to define and defend its value proposition. This is what our customers do every day. Why shouldn't we be expected to do the same thing? But maybe we can do it together. Competition in this industry, in this MLS industry, is not going to come from a contiguous neighbor. You're going to get pressure from the contiguous neighbor. It's going to come from listing clubs and for brokers fighting for differentiation, off-market sales, portals, some of whom are going beyond being a media partner, customers, most importantly, who don't care about boundaries, and money, lots and lots of money. Money will continue to chase money into these models until the market proves them world beaters or sinkholes. Media outlets will continue to amplify their proclamations and publicity pitches because it sells. And do you know why everyone's being attracted to this space? When some people aren't willing to break from the status quo, there will always be others who are in a hurry to do it better. They rewrite the rules, they capitalize on new models, they steal market share, they force downsizing, and then the rush will really be on with new models, new faces, new money, new rules of engagement. Suddenly it might not be so comforting. Everybody wants solutions. But the only real solution is what it has always been. You have to be part of the change. You cannot hang on to something as archaic as neighborhood classifications because it's comfortable. Instead, you write laws that kill it. There are 650 MLSs out here right now, many of us essentially doing the same work. How can we cooperate more effectively? CMLS has emerged as a true leader in this industry to help guide us through these transitions. How can you support CMLS that in turn supports your respective agendas? All of us, everyone in this room is wedded to a financial model that needs lots of members to satisfy the beast. How can we supplant that model before things get even more out of control? These are the issues and the ideas that the MLS industry has yet to address. When are we going to come up with a strategic, customer, consumer-minded model instead of one that is based on risk aversion? I understand it's not easy. The lines are blurring. We're all anxious and increasingly impatient. How many of us are really doing anything different than we were 12, 24, 36 months ago? And if we're not, what are we going to be doing 36 months from now? So I would say this: if you're looking for comfort, I have news for you. Anyone in this room who thinks they are too big or too small or too unique is wrong. Anyone who thinks they are too old, too steeped in their ways to make meaningful changes is wrong. Anyone who is willing to accept the risk of being railed at, unwilling to accept the risk of being railed at by your leadership or by your shareholders for being committed to exploring alternatives is wrong. There is an undeniable imperative to set our sights on something new and tangible now. In my mind, this means consolidation. Now, I don't just mean consolidation of markets. Call it collaboration or cooperation or in concert if you must. What I'm talking about is things like consolidation of data or consolidation of redundant activities like purchasing, compliance, licensing of data, and customer support, or consolidation of resources that are needed for the development of new tools, integration of these new tools and services by enlightened third parties, or new partnership with key technical vendors that are eager to meet our requirements, many of them right outside these doors. Over the years, I've learned that the primary job of every CEO is to establish a vision, secure the funding, get the requisite permissions, and execute. It's that simple. And every successful CEO I know appreciates the job comes with a sense of urgency that is fundamentally part of their DNA. Do you have that same sense of urgency? To that end, I thought it was appropriate that Danae ask all of us to become part of the solution. And I suspect our next speaker will also very appropriately state when she talks to us about what it takes to be a leader. I'm a bit more inclined to tell you how it is. Ladies and gentlemen, we have become an anxious nation and an anxious industry. Words are flying, and many of us find ourselves in the crossfire. And what was once a dog whistle is now a scream. But we don't need to white-knuckle our way through this next phase of our industry. We can't allow ourselves to take the easy way out and essentially kick the can down because there's no clear option. We should do nothing. We can't say that. We cannot let current views or long-held positions cast any shade on a new reality. This new reality must be a future we envision despite the fact that it is not currently within reach and yet not out of the realm of possibility. Cooperation amongst and between participants must be our North Star and the only bridge to the future that we should attempt to salvage. Everything, and I mean everything else, is noise. So if we're not actively working, collaborating, debating with the amazing people in this room, then I don't see how that's any different than hanging on to housing classifications that were wrong-headed. The sheets and the books that we abandoned, or even the fax machine that Xerox came up with. Now more than ever, each of us is required to place greater reliance on others in order to help us move this industry forward. We can't do it by ourselves. That's the only way we will be able to fill the space that gets us from here to there, or wherever it is you want to take it. Thank you very much. So I want to take a moment to shift gears a little bit and thank directors that are stepping away from CMLS. These guys have done a great job and a great service for everyone in this room. They have committed time and again their talent to this organization, all on your behalf. So I'd ask that each come up and be acknowledged by the audience. Tim Dane from St. Louis. Stephanie Hill from Las Vegas. Richard Renton from Triad. And our good friend Michael Werzer from FBS. And true to form, last but certainly not least, Lauren Hansen, who has individually given 8 or 9 years to this organization. 23, I don't know. 8 years to this organization. Thank you all. Now, I will tell you that I'm going to be counting on you because none of you go off until the end of the year. So we've got a strat planning session in December in your hometown. So I look forward to seeing all of you there. Thank these people.